Everyone must have been happy with that last quarter. Felt like a really mature performance.
Yeah, it was. The first three were all very scratchy. Gave the ball back in just some, certain situations where we're normally very good. I think we're the AFL one for not turning the ball out of our defensive half, and unfortunately today we were diabolical in the first half. So what was very pleasing is when called upon, the players stood up, I thought, and really responded and started to get the game more looking how we wanted it to look from the start of the game. So in saying that, I thought Essendon were very good. They obviously went to work over the break, and they played a little bit differently as compared to they did. Normally they're low pressure, low contest. Today was high pressure, and they were going forward a lot more as compared to the backwards hand, backwards kicks. So I thought they looked a different side. So well done to them as well. You want me to repeat that magic, or you've got it? They're all good. Oh, good.
Matt Rowell had an interesting day in game 100. How did you see his battle?
Yeah, well, he had 17 tackles and got tagged, didn't he? So, look, there were some instances, and no, I'm not even going to say it, actually. I just think he battles manfully, this kid. He's a pleasure to coach, and we are so lucky to have him in our organisation. The way he goes about the game, the way he hunts the ball. There's a reason he's one of the best players in the competitions, because he works harder than everyone else. The amount of work he does to get himself to a very high level, there's no question why he's become one of the best players in the AFL, and we're privileged to have him, for the next 2 years and hopefully longer. But what I do know is he's a part of the reason that we're having such a successful season thus far.
He said after the game he wasn't going to change the way he approached the set stoppages, even with the umpire, with the positioning of the umpire.
Yeah, look, he'll be mindful of it, but the thing is, as soon as that ball goes, he's a see ball, get ball player. It is a challenge, and the ball moves. I think I spoke it during the week. If the ball moves, slightly deviates off the bounce, he's not thinking where the umpire is. He's thinking how I can get to the contest, and there is going to be incidental contact. And I think the AFL know that. I know that we've got to protect the umpires, but I think we've also got to be smart. Let's look at some other things that we can do to take it away, from that situation in the first place. Because we don't want to have the conversation as we're having now about the very best players being a possibility of missing a game.
Does he need to change the way he positions himself with the umpires?
I'm not sure he can he? He's got to try and get the ball. That's what we pay him big dollars for. So he's mindful of it. We're mindful of it. We'll try and work through it. But at the end of the day, accidents are going to happen from time to time.
What did change in that last quarter? Was it just went a bit more ball out of stoppage, a bit cleaner?
I thought our mids got to work. Rowley and Noz and those guys really took charge. I thought they were probably beaten, I reckon, the first three quarters. I thought Touk was pretty solid throughout, but I thought our other players were a little bit down, and they just responded. They were very adamant they wanted to win this game for Matt Rowell, and I thought they did a great job of that.
I think it was this round last year. You said the team needed to grow up a bit. It felt like a bit of mature kind of win today. How do you see that sort of that progress?
Yeah, it was. I'm not going to lie, we're a young side. I think are on par with Essendon for the youth of our squad, or our side, I should say. So, a really good spot, 10-5. We're looking forward to the next contest versus Collingwood. But the way our players, responded when called upon was really, really solid. I should say. I thought they did a stellar job, and one thing I will say, Oscar Adams. This is a kid that comes in 5 weeks ago and has an outstanding game. These are the stories we need more of in our game. Like people sort of sitting there saying, why can't we sort of bring players like this in more mid-season? Not bring them in mid-season. It's like that. That's a testament. That's a great story for this kid. Found out he was playing yesterday. Parents drove down from Mount Gambier. So, more and more of those stories. So I was really happy with his game first and foremost, but just the way we played, full stop.
Were you not happy with the way Matt Rowell was tagged by?
Oh, look, that's for we've got to coach him how to get out of those sort of situations. Setterfield's done it for a while. He's a good player, sort of thing. He knows how. It was sort of only at stoppage sort of thing, so we can help him out, I reckon, a little bit in that play sort of thing. So, but once again, I probably thought he probably could have got a bit more protection, but every AFL coach will come up here and say that about their ball winners.
Many years ago, you termed July Big Boy Month. you've got Collingwood, Brisbane and Adelaide to come. How important was securing 4 points today?
Yeah, it is. Like, we didn't play particularly well, but we banked 4 points away. Everyone sort of makes the joke about my home ground here at Marvel, how much I love it and all that sort of stuff. But it was an important win. We've got a really challenging game next week, and then the week after we go to Adelaide. But we're really pleased with how our squad is playing and how, when challenged, they do respond. So we're looking forward to the challenge. We're going to make sure we enjoy this win because, it's a hard thing to do in AFL footy. So we'll make sure we enjoy it, but more importantly, we'll get to work come tomorrow.
No Jared Witts or Sam Collins today. How are those two tracking?
Yeah, both those two boys will play. Witter's done a power of work this year, and we've had Ned Moyle in terrific form, so we really wanted to give him an opportunity, but also rest up Jared off a short break. So, and Collar was, look, we'd rather take the week than miss him for 4. So, we sort of made I don't want to say conservative call, it was a really smart call, provided an opportunity, but, he'll come back in next week, which will be great.
Does it add to show the maturity of your team that you can win without two of your kind of spiritual leaders as well?
Yeah, I think so, and probably 2 of our highest performing players this year. Like, I would think they're probably in the top 3 best and fairest for us, both those boys. We just had an outstanding year. A lot of people talk about a number of other players. Our boys beaten all of them, I reckon. Beaten Gawn twice, all that sort of stuff. But because we're a little bit north of the border, probably don't get the plaudits that he deserves. He's had a wonderful year. Bit nervous leaving him out, trust me, but we've got a second ruckman in Ned Moore that is incredible as well. We're very fortunate. And then Sam Collins, once again, he's done what he's done for a number of years. Very, very good player. And as I said, 2 of our most important players, and we got the job done without them, which is promising.
A couple of emerging players, Jeffrey, I think, he's had 4
Yeah.
games now, and Reid as well. Have they played better games for the club, do you think?
Yeah, I thought they were both very good. Joel probably started off a little bit scratchy at the start, sort of thing, but then I think his maturity as a player, once again, probably 12 months ago, he doesn't respond in the manner that he did, but he's had a wonderful season as well. And, I sort of, the Reid and Walter discussion, people say, those guys are going to be really, really good players for us, and we've just got to keep understanding that what they bring to the side is a combative, contested nature of the game, and the game interconnects. So although their statistical output doesn't look enormous, they help us win, and that's all we're buying. We're buying wins with those boys. So I was really impressed with all those boys today. I thought they did a great job.